Hi, everybody. Old guy here. Ian Caldwell, who wrote this novel, graduated from the Thomas Jefferson High School of Science and Technology in Fairfax County, Virginia, which is a big deal. He also graduated from Princeton, which is a deal, maybe not as big, and he co-wrote a novel called The Rule of Four, which has an Umberto Eco vibe to it. So I expected a lot, and I kept with this, hoping that at some point I would understand what the devil is going on. But that eluded me all the way to the end, and frankly, I still don't understand this. That's because this is set on an alien world, the Vatican. And unless you're one of them, this is just going to baffle you. Right from the beginning, when the narrator, whose father Alex Andreas, comes across his brother, Father Simon, standing next to the body of Ugo Nogara, who had been putting together a secret exhibition about the Shroud of Turin, which has been secretly spirited away from Turin and installed in a St. Peter's Basilica secret reliquary. Now, the world being at best half aware of events, I would still think that the taking of the shroud would have at least been noticed by even the most unaware of the shroud's guardians. But this is glossed over. The shroud just arriving one evening in the back of a truck while Nogara protects it, and really, nobody saw this? There is some oblique reference to the Turin archbishops and cardinals knowing about the exhibit, and maybe they had tacitly agreed to its movement, but come on. You'd think that something like this would be all over the news. And I think the first question I would ask my brother, who's standing next to the body of a guy with a gunshot wound, is, what are you doing here? But no, not asked. And neither was it asked by the gendarmes who show up to do the crime scene and spirit away crucial evidence and leave it on a bench somewhere. I mean, I realize police procedure is different from country to country, but certain protocols should be universal. The whole investigation is run like that, oddly, with Simon eventually accused of Nogara's murder, but not by the gendarmes. No, by the Rota, which is the ecclesiastical court that tries priests' violations, at least the ones that they acknowledge, but which spends most of its time annulling marriages and has never done a murder trial before. Okay, first time for everything, but this is one odd court where no evidence can be presented unless one of the three judges on the panel asks for it. No questions can be asked by the defense, although they can pass notes to the judges asking them to ask a question, and conviction pretty much rests on character references. This is why we have secular courts. Simon refuses to testify, to proclaim himself innocent, or say anything at all about what happened that night, so what's a Rota to think? Well, you'd think the same thing, except for the cardinals and the Pope directly interfering with the trial and telling witnesses what they can or cannot say. It's like some state attorney general consulting with the White House before conducting a trial. And the desultory evidence, the most crucial of which isn't even collected or considered by the gendarmes, but which Alex finds, is pretty damning, except when it isn't. And that's not the only sector of bafflement. There's the whole shroud issue, which Nogara obsesses over, wanting to discredit the now discredited radiocarbon dating and show where the shroud has been all the centuries before it showed up in a French village in the 14th century. This involves a close reading of the four Gospels with the assistance of Alex, and a comparison with what is called the fifth Gospel, which isn't really a fifth Gospel, but which is all of the Gospels collected in one book that dates from the 2nd century and has just recently turned up. Apparently, whoever compiled the fifth Gospel picked and chose among the stories, and there are some significant differences between the Gospel of John and the rest of the Gospels that just might validate the shroud or disprove it. And all of this in light of the schism between the Eastern Orthodox and the Roman Catholic Church, which may be healed by the revelations of the shroud, or may not. And Simon and Alex are Eastern Catholics, which are Orthodox but take direction from the Pope so they can marry and have families and still be Catholic priests, which I guess is like having your cake and eating it too. If you're in that world, then all of this will be clear. And it is quite a compelling story, trying to figure out how Nogara died and what Simon has to do with it, and who are these two mysterious priests who keep showing up and beating up people and breaking into apartments. But there's too much inside baseball here, a baseball where you don't get to know all the rules. It's easier to be a Protestant. Old guy here. See you later. By the way, I'm going to be out of pocket for a while. I'm going on a trip. See you when I get back.